Now time for the big story. The Jamaica Constabulary Force, the JCF, has announced traffic changes in the corporate area due to the upcoming political rallies being hosted by the Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party this Sunday. The traffic alterations aim to ensure public safety and facilitate the smooth flow of traffic during these events. Joining me at this time is Assistant Commissioner of Police Gary McKenzie, who is also the head of the Public Safety and Traffic Enforcement Branch known as PSTEB. Good morning, ACP, and how are you doing today?
Good morning, Richie B. Good morning, listeners all over the world. I'm very well, thank you.
All right, glad to have you this morning, ACP. There are some questions that we'll ask so that you can give as much information as possible in terms of routing and all of that. But before we get to that, ACP, I'm wondering, and many people are, whether or not, even at this time, there is concern within the JCF about any potential for confrontation or clashes between the two parties with mass meetings being held so close to each other. Are you concerned?
Well, let me put it this way, Richie B. A lot of those concerns have come from the fact that we have had an history. We have been able, over time, especially in recent times, to cohabit in a very peaceful and cordial way. That is not to say that as it near this general election, there will not be motions and so on. But what we have seen is a kind of maturity that will suggest that there is a possibility for people to be able to go to two meetings and we do not have any political violence or activities that will mar the peace. Having said that, though, the police, of course, have done their assessment. They continue to do so. We know the possibilities that could happen. And so in all our plans, we are ensuring that we are able to manage the processes. As Jamaican people, we should not resign ourselves to any fact that we cannot be a part of two meetings that are geared at discussing issues involving the running of our country, and we engage in major violent activities.
Mm-hmm. So you're telling us and the listeners this morning then that the police will not be too stretched in terms of manning and managing these two events this Sunday.
Right. So the responsibility of the police is to ensure public safety and security. And our responsibility as well is to monitor the thoroughfares to ensure that people move to and fro safely. The police are up to the challenge that exists. Our responsibility, it is not to say that we will not have to strategize in a way that is above normal. That is going to be the case. But having said that, we believe we have the capacity to properly cover the event and to ensure that persons are safe.
Now, so with both Halfway Tree and Cross Roads being major transit hubs, ACP, are we looking at a total kind of traffic lockdown on Sunday? And what really should motorists realistically expect?
Right. So in the first instance, Sunday is not a regular work or school day. And of course, you know that we are in the summer. So we have reduced traffic and we have been having that even during the weeks now. Having said that, there are a lot of roads in and around both areas that can facilitate movement to almost anywhere. And so what we have done is to ensure that we are putting out the advisories that will inform persons as to how they can drive to circumvent the concentric areas of the meetings. And so we believe that persons, of course, there will be some level of inconvenience, and certainly around the hubs of these areas, there will be traffic. However, we are confident that persons will be able to move. Persons who are going elsewhere, they will be able to move to those places without major hindrance.
And I'm sure that you would have factored into the equation businesses that may be operating as well as even emergency services.
Right. So it is a fact that business is around the two places. We are talking about HWT and Cross Roads.
Mm-hmm.
The concentric areas, it will be affected in terms of vehicles arriving at exact positions where they would normally park and move through. However, pedestrian traffic will not be affected. So that is very important to note. So let us look at the case of HWT.
Yes.
The intention for that period is to close the roadway to regular traffic to the north from South Avenue, to the south from Agley Park, Maxfield, to the south from Balmoral, HWT Road, to the west from Hagley Park, Maxfield, and to the east from Surbiton, Winchester, Hope Road. Mm-hmm. We will facilitate parking of vehicles within a specific area. Within that, those persons who are attending the event. So persons will not be able to drive through HWT Square. But let us use an example that someone is actually going downtown Kingston from Constant Spring.
Yes.
Then such a person could drive down to Constant Spring Road. They could either turn left on Shortwood and then right on Upper Waterloo and go straight across to Trafalgar. And then they could actually use Lady Musgrave, Old Hope Road, Camp Road, and find themselves downtown. They could also choose to turn right on South Avenue, or they could choose right on Dunrobin Avenue. They could use Red Hills Road. They could go across to Kasha Park. They could find themselves anywhere downtown from that end. So there are a lot of places. Persons coming in from Nelson Mandela Highway, Spanish Town Road, Marcus Garvey Drive are options as well.
All right. Now let's look at persons coming from, say, downtown. They can't go through Cross Roads. Let's look at Cross Roads now.
Right. So if you're coming from downtown and say you're coming up Sly Pen Road and you arrive at Torrington Bridge, then you could turn right and you would access West Hero Circle. You would then move left to Marasca Road. You are able to go around Caledona. You can turn right and then access Tamredcam Road, and you can access Old Hope Road from there, or Arthurwing Drive. You could then go Roosevelt or Mountain View, and you can head up where you will access Hope Road. You can go across Barbican. You can also use the same route of Trafalgar, because you could go straight across Oxford Road, right on Knutsford Boulevard, and into New Kingston, and then on to Trafalgar Road.
Mm-hmm. We know that the police will be out there visibly in their uniform and so on, directing traffic. Will there be signage that will support the men and women that will be out there from your team? And will there be designated parking areas that you wish to highlight this morning?
Right. So the police will be along all routes, and the police will be at the points. There will be what we call an outer layer, and there will be an inner layer. So parking will be facilitated between the inner and outer layer. In other words, we have to ensure that persons who are attending the meeting and who will be on foot once they reach to the location, that those areas are sterile. So, say for example, you are coming from the direction of Cross Roads. Say you are traveling on HWT Road. Once you reach to Cargill Avenue, which you will not be able to drive to there because it's a one-way, but if you come up Cargill Avenue from Maxfield Avenue, then there will be a cut-off point there. Persons attend the venue, for example, all the persons who are executives and so on, they will be able to park in between there up to Holy Childhood High School. I would like to highlight, though, very quickly, the other end, which is the northern end. So when we close at South Avenue for that outer layer, the inner layer, there will be a cutoff right at Courtney Walsh Drive. So that entire area between South Avenue and Courtney Walsh Drive, where we have a wide road and plazas and so on, which as we are talking about Sunday evening and so on, there will be the ability for persons to park.
Now, for unruly motorists who decide...
But I would like to, before you go, I'd like to go to Cross Roads because we have to speak of that as well.
Yes, please.
So I'd mentioned Torrington Bridge, but the event itself will be in the concentric area of Cross Roads. So there will be another layer just in the vicinity of Court. So people will be able to park in between there as well. On the other side, which is the northern side,
yes, we
will be closing traffic right at Retirement and HWT Road. But we will also have an inner layer right at Old Hope Road and HWT Road. So there will be parking within those zones as well. It's very important for persons to recognize that we will not be having parking that will be causing major obstruction. As you have said before, and what we have not spoken about much is that we will have our emergency teams that are on hand. And so if persons become injured or fatigued or, become ill for any reason,
yes,
we will have ambulances and so on that are strategically placed to move out persons. So it's very important that we have clearance.
Are there any plans in place for public transportation to and from the rally venues?
Definitely so. In fact, that's a good question because the transport center, which is located right at the top of North Odeon Avenue and Constant Spring Road, the buses will fly as normal to that location. So persons will be able to get vehicles there. I have to say that for the HWT rally, come 12 midnight tonight, the area between Southern Mayor and Hagley Park Road along Constant Spring Road, where we have the lay-by just in front of Mandela Park, that will be closed to facilitate the infrastructure placement.
And so you said tonight? Tonight?
That's tonight.
Yeah, midnight. Okay.
So, right. So what will happen is that the buses that generally use the lay-by right in front of Mandela Park, they will be facilitated by turning left on Southermere, right on Parish Place, right on Hope Road, and they will be facilitated in terminating on the left lane, the extreme left lane as one heads west. And that will be so until Sunday. After Sunday, what will happen is that those buses will have to turn left at South Avenue. They will have to access Waterloo Road and go across to Hope Road, where they will turn right and then left onto Winchester and then right onto Ruthven and then go back on Arbitrary Road.
Mm-hmm. ACP, I wonder, like, what numbers are you contemplating that could be in attendance? Are you looking at maybe possibly a 15,000, a 20,000 crowd in each location in terms of your planning? Yes?
Well, as you know, it is really the height of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we could be seeing maybe a combination of about 50,000, thereabout, at max. That is something that, it is not beyond us to manage. I mean, the National Stadium, it has accommodated 35,000 plus already, and persons have been able to move in and out and that's a much tighter place in terms of the number of roads that are available to be accessed. When you look at HWT and the Cross Roads, as we have said, it's about 2 miles away from each other, but there are multiple roads to access both locations and for which people can use to go in and out of the area.
Mm-hmm. Unruly motorists, what do you want to say to them right now? Those who will maybe attempt not to comply with instructions from the police and so on. What kind of penalties might they expect that will befall them?
Well, what I will say to persons is that law and order will not be on leave. Law and order will be working. And so one of the things that may happen, especially when we have this kind of thing, is the fact that persons will drive carelessly. Some, because of the emotions and the high level of elatedness and so on, they tend to go overboard. And so improper overtaking, causing obstruction and speeding, those are things that are likely to happen. We are saying don't do that. The first thing we want is for people to go to the meetings and back, or wherever they wish to go and back, and being safe without any major casualties. That is not what we want to hear of come next Monday morning. And so the police will be ensuring that takes place. One of the things that happen as well is body protruding.
Mm-hmm.
And that is something that we discourage, not because it is unlawful, Richie B., but because we have seen in the past where persons have done that and people have fallen from vehicles and have died, people have lost limbs, and so on. That is not something that anybody wants. So it's very important that they conform with the law, obey the rules that are laid down, obey the signals and the directions of the police, and ask questions if you need to. We are there to assist and to ensure we facilitate these public meetings.
Mm-hmm. Did the police at any time recommend or request that one of the parties maybe shift their location or reschedule?
Well, there are a lot of discussions that are taking place surrounding these meetings, but we are at the point where they are going to be held.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that they are going to be held, it is our responsibility to treat with them.
Okay. Finally, ACP, within the event, it's themselves, now, not just in terms of traffic, but within the event, within the crowds and so on. What assurance can you close out by giving us to all those persons who will be attending in terms of the police presence and how you will operate even within the mass gatherings?
Well, let us say that there are 3 general tiers of policing that will take place. One is to ensure that the highways and byways, as well as the routes, that those are monitored for travel safety and to prevent anything that may be considered catastrophic. 2, we have to ensure that at the areas themselves, that the area is properly secured and that persons are able to move in, park, and that the area itself is conducive to host the meeting. And 3, we have to ensure that within the meetings and certainly within the crowds, there will be police officers, both covert and overt. We are telling people, do not take any chances, because we are there. We will be within the crowds, and we will be around the crowds, and we will be moving along with the vehicles to ensure that everything runs okay.
ACP Gary McKenzie, thank you so very much for your time and the information you shared today, and all the best going forward. Appreciate it.
You're most welcome, you and your listeners.